Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for our topic, Navigating Uncertainty, Owning Your Future. My name is Charbel Ghaby. I'm a financial advisor and a financial planner over at WestPac Wealth Partners. It's a financial planning firm located in San Diego. I'm a Woodbury Business School alum, and I would love to bring you the financial considerations when it comes to this very important topic, especially these days with everything going on. And just real quick to give you a little bit of history about myself, I raised in Glendale and went to Glendale High, then attended UC San Diego for an economics degree. After that, was a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley for a couple of years until I went into the family business of restaurants. I owned a Hill Street Cafe that was right across the street from Woodbury, and that's when I decided to get my MBA when I was there. I've also been a client of the firm I work for the past 12 years. So that gives me a very unique perspective of being a client, an advisor, and also a business owner, and seen a lot of ups and downs in the past 25 years of business. So we'll just talk about a few of them today. So just for our agenda today, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to get ready for uncertainty, financial organization. We're going to look at the traditional balance sheet and look at how we look at the balance sheet from our company perspective, how you can build your team of advisors going forward. And then we'll discuss some liquidity and savings suggestions, I want to say. And we'll talk a little bit about protection at the end. So just to kind of start off real quick, when we talk about financial organization, a lot of times people don't know what they have. It's not kind of what they have, it's how they all work together. Excuse me. So we can go from a 401k, some people have 529, some people have investment real estate, how do their company benefits work with everything else that they have? Are they being paid for the amount of risk they're taking in their portfolio? So all of these different things really come together when it comes to decisions. We can't take these individual decisions in silo. We have to look at our overall balance sheet and how our finances are in order to be able to tackle these, even though they're individual topics, but they have to be looked at from the overall planning perspective. So again, traditional balance sheet, right? Just real quick, economics lesson or accounting lesson, assets minus liabilities equals net worth. And so as we're working during our working years, we're planning really hard to build that net worth so that when we stop working, the net worth can then be almost converted into income to replace the lost cash flow of not working. And then so during times of uncertainty, whether you're about to retire, whether you're going to retire in 5 years, whether you're 40 years away from retirement, there are different strategies to consider along that life cycle. And so the way we look at the balance sheet is we add two very important domains. The bottom part is the cash flow. Without understanding your cash flow and how much you're coming in and out of your balance sheet, how do we use the positive cash flow that comes up to build assets? How do we use the positive cash flow to pay off liabilities? Or if there's a negative cash flow situation, we're going to be stuck in either depleting our assets or increasing our liabilities. So it really all starts off with cash flow. How does cash flow work, to build up our balance sheet? And then the protection piece, kind of the roof over the whole house, legally, financially. How do we protect our family? How do we protect business assets from personal assets? How do we separate some of that liability and have it be well protected? So if we look at the balance sheet that we build at our firm, this is called the living balance sheet. It is something that, if all accounts are connected, it is active and updated daily. So we can see on the top layer, there's the protection side of it. It comes in the forms of wills and trusts. How many trusts should you have? Where should they be domiciled? We look at the property, and you need to look at your property and casualty, and God forbid if something happens to these very low probability but high impact event to the balance sheet. And then so one of the most important things when it comes to the uncertain times is having liquidity. And we love to have 6 to 9 months minimum of expenses liquid And liquid meaning it can be in your account within 3 days. Ideally, investments are not considered liquid because you could be selling in March of 2020 when COVID just hit and the market is down 40%, and now you have to sell those investments. So even though technically they're liquid, but the timing of it makes a difference. So we want something that's uncorrelated with the market that you can tap into. A lot of people call it an emergency fund. We like to call it an opportunity fund because it could be something to take advantage of opportunities that may arise, whether opening a business, whether purchasing a piece of property you've been looking at. So all those considerations need to be taken into play. And we'll talk a little bit more about savings and liquidity a little bit later. I can't stress this enough, but the goal is for financial organization is to also have the right team of advisors. How do we use the CPA that we have, the accountant, the bookkeeper, the bankers, the attorneys, both from family attorneys to estate planning attorneys to business attorneys? How do all these people come into play? Well, if you look at it, these are the domains of the balance sheet that we discussed earlier. And I want to give you an example. Let's go back one slide. I want to give you an example of how all of this interacts together. So for example, let's say that you decide to buy a house. And so out of that house, the money is going to come from your savings. And it's going to go into real estate equity. You're going to have to take a mortgage on it. That's a liability. Then before the lender even gives you a mortgage, you have to buy property and casualty insurance to make sure the bank wants to protect their investment. And then there's going to be an extra debt in terms of property taxes, and there's going to be protection costs for that insurance. There's also going to be less left for lifestyle, and there might be a little bit more tax savings because of the interest deductions. So all of that, one transaction affected 9 or 10 different things. So one of the most important things I can stress is understanding your overall balance sheet, getting ready for these, cycles, right? Because this, again, is just part of the economic cycle, and understanding how all of these domains fit together. So when you do make financial decisions, that you have looked at all of it and looked at how that financial decision affects all of these different departments or silos. So to go back to the financial organization part, it's extremely important to gather that team of advisors, because there are experts in each of these fields, and having a person that you can call as a resource to give you the answers that you need at that particular time will give you much better ammunition to make the right decision. And just to give you an idea, we highly, highly recommend depending on your age, but saving 15 to 25% of your gross income. And if we take this example, 25 more years of working at 250,000 salary with just a modest increases of 3% per year, and then a rate of return of 5%, this person is saving an incredible rate of 25. So this person's about 40 years old, and still after all of that saving, their potential income in retirement, even at 5%, is still less than what they used to make. And we all know about inflation. This money is 25 years from now. And we all know 25 years from now, 212,000 is not going to be worth 212,000. It's going to be worth probably half. All right. And the last domain really is this is one of the domains of our balance sheet. And this is how we look at it. How do we get ready for the property and casualty event? Do we have our rentals covered the right way? Do I have enough umbrella policy? I live in California, so we all know everybody here is sue happy. Any minor car accidents these days is a few $100,000, unfortunately. And so then there's disability. How do we place our income in case of injury or sickness? The medical insurance part, which legally you have to have that full coverage. Long-term care issues, wills, trusts, power of attorneys, buy-sell agreements if there's a business, and how to, if you have young kids, how to properly plan for who's going to take care of them. Or I guess the best way to describe estate planning is giving what you want, when you want, to the people that you want, under the terms of conditions that you want. So really, it's just setting it aside for the people that are, going to be alive afterwards to let them know these are your wishes. And that's about it here. So I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, you could always reach me at charbel.ghaby@westpacwealthpartners.com. Again, Charbel Ghaby at westpacwealthpartners.com. Thank you so much.